While it's true that great initiatives are often started by passionate and visionary individuals, it's often the power of many, where multiple people come together, united in their cause, that turns those great initiatives into impactful movements. With social and technological innovations advancing as they have, it is easier than ever for a person to take an idea, share it out amongst the world, and to have that idea catch fire and really turn into something meaningful. The impact, within the last 20 years, there has been nothing that's made a greater impact in connecting our world than social media. Clicks, views, likes, posts, and tweets all do their part in informing us and connecting us. The advent of social media has allowed for the sorting and gathering of individuals into similarly minded and purpose-driven groups, as largely or as narrowly defined as imaginable. It's relatively easy for me to go out and find similar 30-something new dad Asians who are seeking to recapture the sporting prowess of their youth, albeit on the weekends on a smaller hockey rink with shorter shifts. What was equally as easy in execution, yet remarkably more impactful in result, were the events in Egypt in 2011 that led to the resignation of Hosni Mubarak and the end to his dictatorship over the country. Messages with the hashtag Jan25th were posted and retweeted, resulting in 80,000 Egyptians taking to the streets of Cairo and convening upon Tahrir Square. By February 11th, Mubarak had tendered his resignation, and a new era for our country was born. Social media allows for us to take an idea and amplify it and reach numbers of people previously unimaginable without the assistance of mainstream media. A message today in word, picture, or video form, if compelling enough, has the ability to reach around the world faster than ever before. A clear example of this is with the current refugee crisis in Syria. The Canadian Red Cross has had an open appeal on this particular crisis since 2011. Clearly, a cause worthy of the world's attention, and yet, when you take a look at the numbers, from 2011 to about September 1st of this year, we had only averaged about 2 donations a day, with total donations in the amount of just over 600,000. In the 2 weeks between September 3rd and September 15th, we saw a massive spike in activity, with over 360 donations daily, with the amount being raised exceeding $850,000. Clearly an impressive feat. One would ask why. It's because on September 2nd, the world awoke to these tragic images of Alan Kurdi, a young 2-year-old boy, drowned, washed up on the shores of Turkey in an attempt to escape with his family. A tragic, yet poignant example of how all it takes is the right message to spark the world into action. The phenomenon that is social media has given rise to a new era in fundraising, namely crowdfunding. At its essence, crowdfunding provides us with the perfect opportunity to look at the power of many, a goal or objective seemingly impossible to reach by one individual, often met and surpassed through the participation of many. One of the most successful examples of crowdfunding initiatives in recent history was the Ice Bucket Challenge of last year. Clearly, you all have seen videos of this Ice Bucket Challenge. What may interest you is the Wikipedia page on ALS disease prior to the Ice Bucket Challenge had only averaged 163,000 views on a monthly basis. In August of 2014, 2.8 million views to that same page. Similarly, the ALS Association of America had raised about 19.2 million in their financial reports in 2012. Again, August 2014, the month in which the Ice Bucket Challenge was at its highest, over $100 million was raised for that association. What the Ice Bucket Challenge has done so successfully is what all crowdfunding initiatives at the end of the day strive to do, and that is to get an individual to give in the moment. Now, giving in the moment often entails three elements. You tell a compelling story, you strike an emotional chord, and then you compel the user to act. Crowdfunding allows for the packaging of these three elements in a very convenient and shareable manner. Now, when you take that and overlay that with the amplification effects of social media, you've got the ability to, again, far exceed any expectations that you initially had with your particular cause. The strategy and approach to fundraising with the Canadian Red Cross has evolved over the years to really look to capitalize or to leverage this idea of giving in the moment for Canadians. As recently as 2004, when an earthquake and ensuing tsunami had devastated Indonesia and the surrounding Southeast Asian region, it wasn't an uncommon sight to go across a Red Cross office and find lineups out the door and down the street filled with people waiting to donate for disaster relief efforts. Scores of volunteers were enlisted to work night and day just to sort through all of the incoming mail and the donations that were received that were piled in boxes, stacked floor to ceilings in rooms in the offices. Today, online portals are set up as soon as incoming word of an international event comes down and public appeal is anticipated, as the organization has recognized that the bulk of activities around donations have moved to an online world. Similarly, donor engagement efforts have shifted from the front door of the building to the front page of the website. Furthermore, partnerships with wireless service providers have been established to, again, really allow for that giving in the moment, oftentimes enabling Canadians to give a donation by texting a keyword to a short code and having those charges show up on your cell phone bill. With my own experiences with the organization, I've been privileged enough to witness firsthand the power of many and what momentum does for initiatives. From international disasters such as the earthquake in Haiti, to the tsunami in Japan, Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, or the Nepal earthquake, to even local Canadian events such as the train derailment in Lac-Mégantic or the Alberta floods, I've been able to see firsthand how single individual donations multiplied across numerous individuals turn tens of dollars into tens of millions of dollars. Now, what you do is you take that and you compound that with the matching efforts that large corporations and government will often employ, and you've often tripled the value and impact of your donation by the time those funds are ready to be used. Just recently, the federal government announced earlier this week a matching fund of $100 million till December 31st for the current refugee crisis impacting Europe and the Middle East. One of the most noteworthy examples that I have seen during my time with the organization around the power of many come to life is with the disaster relief efforts that the Red Cross employed during the Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines. Through the donations of Canadians, the Canadian Red Cross was able to deploy a mobile field hospital and have it situated right in the city of Ormoc, actually right in the parking lot adjacent to the city's main hospital, which was destroyed by the typhoon. Over 1,200 patients were seen, 100 surgeries conducted, and over 400 babies were delivered in that field hospital in the weeks following the typhoon. Local Philippines Red Cross staff and volunteers worked alongside the Canadian delegation, and at the conclusion of the deployment, the Canadian Red Cross had handed over the mobile field hospital to the Philippines Red Cross so that they would be ready to be equipped and deploy when the time came for the next disaster to hit that surrounding area. As much good as there is around the power of many, it would be careless to omit the potential downsides. of having numbers of people rallying around a particular idea. We've all said or done something in our lives that we've regretted and wish we could take back. Fortunately, in most live world situations, the impact of that mistake is often limited and dissipated by the time it takes for us to get our foot out of our mouths. That's not necessarily always the case in the online world. The consequences of making such a mistake online are greater than ever. No amount of backtracking or retraction or seeking of clarification will ever prevent a snapshot of that moment being taken in time and forever preserved for the world to keep on record. It's harder than ever to recover from our mistakes online. Conversely, it's easier than ever to be the subject of taunt and ridicule. Cyberbullying has led to many tragic teen suicides in Canada over the last several years. Names like Amanda Todd and Rehtaeh Parsons come immediately to mind when I think about the Red Cross's violence and abuse prevention programs. While the consequences of cyberbullying have increased to include criminal charges, these programs that the Red Cross offers seek to get into our children's schools and educate them on respect and dignity for one another in the hopes that these types of activities can be prevented in the first place. It's very obvious that there are more risks than ever in putting yourself out there and stating an opinion or idea. However, we must be mindful that with great risk lies the potential for even greater reward. At the end of the day, social and technological innovations have undoubtedly made our world a smaller one. What they've also done is increase the reach and size of our community, that group of people with which we identify with. In fact, no longer is the word community limited to physical proximity, yet in this virtual world, we still find ourselves willing to ask that question, how can I help, when the circumstances call for it? In fact, it seems as if we seek to enact the online virtual equivalent of showing up to a neighbor's house with a casserole dish in hand, saying, hey, I'm here if you need me. Sharing out an idea is nothing new. We've done it 100 years ago with the distribution of pamphlets, 75 years ago with the radio, 50 with the television, and 25 years ago with the email. What is new is the combination of speed and ease with which there exists to be able to take an idea, share it out, and scale it into something impactful. Which brings us to my challenge to you. What is it that you're passionate about? What's your idea worth sharing? Take that that's been simmering in the back of your mind, and can you be bold enough to bring it to the forefront? Can you bring that simmer to a boil and deliver something awesome? There's no better time than now to share an idea. You never know what it might spark. Thank you.